Hello, you guys. Welcome to a new vlog. Okay, so in this vlog, sorry, I have my coffee and it's in the way. In this vlog, we are going to be reading the new books that I purchased. So I've been hauling for the past 5 months new books for you guys, books that I've been buying, and it's not that many books, but I just want to read them in this vlog. I told you guys, a goal for myself is to read all the new books that I purchased in the year that I purchased them. I do not want any of the books that I buy this year to go into the next year. Don't want to do that anymore. So we got to start reading them. And so I'm going to start dedicating vlogs to reading them. Now there are a few books that I have purchased. So I purchased Emily Henry's new book. I did purchase the second Amari book. There's a couple new books that I did purchase this year that aren't gonna be in this vlog because I had them already assigned to videos. I already have video ideas. I want to read those books in, you know, a good little theme that I want to put those books in, so there's no reason for me to put them in this video. But these books are just, I don't have no plans for them. They're just books that I wanted to read and I might as well get them done. So let's discuss them. So the first book that we have, and I think the last book that I hauled for you guys, was The Things We Do to Our Friends. That's a book that we can read. Now I'm not going to read all of them in this vlog. I will have to do 2 separate vlogs to get all of them in. So we're gonna decide what 4 we're going to read for this video. The next thing we have is The Force of Such Beauty. Another book we have is How Beautiful We Were. We have Careering. We have Mame. We have Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. And we have Someone Else's Shoes and Wrong Place, Wrong Time. Those are all the new books that I've purchased this year and that I could read in this vlog. So let's decide what we're going to do. Careering, I want to read Careering. This was 100% an impulse buy one day at the bookstore, and I wanted to read it since I've gotten my hands on it, but I knew I wanted to do a vlog reading all my new books, so I waited on it. I want to read Careering in this video. We might even read it first. I do not know, but I want to read Careering. So Careering will happen in this vlog. What's next? I want to keep everything. I don't want everything to be like the same tone. I don't think we should read Mame and How Beautiful We Were in the same video. I feel like I should split them up, even though they probably have nothing the same, but to me, they feel the same. So we're gonna read How Beautiful We Were. We're gonna read How Beautiful We Were because I do want to read a book like this. I've been itching for something a little literary. I've been itching for something a little deep. How Beautiful We Were. For some reason, of all the books, this is the book I want to read the least, so I'm not gonna pick it. This is the book I know the least about, so I'm not gonna pick it. So we're gonna save these 4 for the next vlog, and we are going to read these 4, which is the exact pile that I had already had them in, so that was pointless. That is what we're gonna do. Where do I wanna start? We're gonna start with Careering. We're gonna do Careering, then How Beautiful We Were, Wrong Place, Wrong Time, Someone Else's Shoes. That I think is going to be the order. So let's get into the weekly vlog. Peace. you guys? I am here to give you guys an update on careering. I'm on page 110. So in this book, we have dual POVs. We have two women who work at the same job. So in this book, we have a woman named Imogen and we have a woman named Harry. Harry is this hot shot editor at this publishing place. Like, they have a magazine and stuff like that. It's like a print type of thing. And so she believes she is going to be editor-in-chief of this like news place. But she gets called in and they're like, we don't want you to be editor-in-chief, even though she thinks she's going to be editor-in-chief. We want you to like start your own imprint, basically start your own like feminist imprint, feminist type news place, feminist type journalism stories, all of that. Think like Jezebel, the Mary Sue, think something like that. That's what they want her to do, and she's absolutely disgusted. She's absolutely disgusted because she thought she was going to be editor-in-chief, but actually they're kind of like, she thinks they're like selling her down the river, like giving her like pointless work to do because they're trying to like push her out of the way. So she needs to hire people. She needs to hire people, and she decides she is going to hire someone named Imogen. Imogen is our millennial in this book. Imogen's career is in the gutter. She is an intern, even though like she kind of is too old to be an intern, like whatever that means. That's my own words, that's not the book's words, but like she doesn't like the fact that she's still an intern. She has a blog, it don't make her money. Her job don't make her money. They treat her like shit at the job that she's at. So when Harry comes to her and is like, do you want a job? She's like, yeah, I'm gonna take the job. She's gonna get paid for it, get paid good money, decent money. And so that starts our journey. She is moving over to this new, Imogen is moving over to this new magazine journalism type place, and Harry is her boss, and we're following these two ladies. Okay, here lies the issue with me. Millennial story. I don't like the millennial mid-youth crisis. I'm a fuck up, I haven't done shit and I'm almost 30. I don't like that type of story. Not because I don't think that they can be good. I just think they're done. Like, I'm just not learning anything new from that type of story. So Imogen's story just is not, it's never gonna pull me in because I always find them uninteresting. Imogen, and she's dealing with all the things you expect the millennial who's dealing with not being where she wants to be in life. She's dealing with the exact same issue. So sex life issue, love issue, parent issue, money issue, housing issue, all of mental health issue, dealing with all the things that you expect her to deal with. And so like, I'm just like, they're always the same. They're always the same. I think the flattest part about Imogen's story is the sex stuff. I find the sex stuff to be a little shoehorned in there, a little shoved in there, because that's the beat that this type of story needs to be, you know, be about. Let's talk about our sex lives and stuff like that. Are millennials having good sex? Are millennial women having orgasms? Like, it's just always the same type of conversation in this book. I'm just like, it's tired. It's tired. But what I do like about Imogen's story is the journalism part. This book has a lot of interesting things to say about wanting to be a writer in the modern age, especially because we're in 2023 right now. And being a writer, this is the worst time in history to be a writer, to be someone who wants to pursue writing as a career, because there's just no money in it. No one's putting any funding in it. Journalism is dead. No one cares about good journalism, even though we need good journalism. And this book had a really interesting thing to say about like being a real writer. Imogen calls herself not a real writer because she was like, a real writer would have parents who take care of them, would have support systems. A real writer would have other people they know in the business who could help them out. And I love that, like, this idea that at this point in time, the only way you can be a writer and make money being a writer, enough money to sustain yourself, is being a nepotism baby, or just having parents who can support you, and you're able to deal with the dog days of being a writer, not being that accomplished, not getting these big, you know, paychecks from your writing because you have parents who have money. That's what the reality of writing is. When someone comes up to you and they're like, I'm a writer for a living, if they're young, a good possibility is that their parents are rich, you know? It's just very few people who are able to really get it out the mud and become a writer. And I really loved that idea that she was talking about. She was like, no, I'm not a real writer, because I was a real writer, my parents would have money. I thought it was so clever and it was so good. So that's what I do like about this book, because a lot of times in these millennial books, the job is kind of ambiguous, that they be like, I got a job I hate, but you never really learn nothing about the job. I do like that this is about her being a journalist, and it's interesting. Harry, on the other hand, I don't really find much interesting about Harry at all. Harry is a little older, and Harry is learning. Imogen wants a job. Harry is tired of having a job. Harry has had the success. She's been to the mountaintop, and it ain't what they said. Word to Prince. She doesn't want it no more. She wants something more out of life. She's tired of working herself to the bone and then feeling like she's thrown away. So Harry's dealing with this other side of careering, where Imogen just wants to get her foot in the door and get an opportunity. Harry has gotten the opportunities, and she's seen that you can have all the success in the world and people are going to throw you away when they feel like they can't use you anymore. So you have these two ladies dealing with these not the same exact issue, but still dealing with, you know, this crisis in their professional life and also in their personal life. Harry doesn't have a personal life. She is career. And Imogen doesn't have any real like connections to her personal life. She's constantly trying to almost move away from her past because she's not proud of her past. It's a really interesting thing that's going on. So I say that to say this book actually is perfectly enjoyable in the current moment. My biggest gripe, I would say so far, Harry and Imogen sound just alike. Their voice sounds just like. Harry doesn't necessarily sound older. Imogen doesn't necessarily sound younger. If you put this book down like in the middle of a chapter and you don't like remember who you left off on, if you just start reading, you have no clue whose chapter you are actually in, because they sound exactly the same. So that's a writing issue right there. But overall, that's what's going on. I'm about to go to bed. I'm about to put my dishes in the dishwasher and I'm going to bed. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace. Hello, you guys. I want to give you guys a turtle update for those who care. This is my turtle. Everyone say hello to my turtle. This is Ray. Anyways, I told you guys in the last vlog he was sick. My turtle has a vitamin A deficiency, which is what I figured was the issue with him. The issue with my turtle is he's like his mama. He does not like vegetables. My turtle does not like vegetables. And my turtle will literally starve himself to not eat vegetables. Like, he will starve him to the point where you have to feed him some type of protein just so he won't die. Like, he is just stubborn and rude. That is the perfect way to describe my turtle. Stubborn and rude. But if he's not eating vegetables, he's not getting the vitamin A that he needs, and basically it causes him to get sick, the ear infection, nasal infection, all of that. Luckily for me, my turtle did not have a nasal infection. He did not have any organ issues. Everything was good there, but the eyes are a little puffy. That's why he's been swatting at his eyes. And so 2 times a day, I have to put his little eye drops in his eye. I think he's pretty much cool now. When he opens up his eyes, he doesn't rub them, so his eyes are fine. The only issue is his activity still has not gone up yet because he refuses to eat the vegetables. If he just eats the vegetables, if he eats the collard greens, if he eats the kale, he will be perfectly fine. His energy levels will be back up within a day. Like, I go through this with him all of the time. And usually I like just see it through because like he's gonna eventually eat the vegetables. But with him, like when I noticed his eyes were puffy, I was like, okay, we gotta go to the vet to get you some eye drops and figure everything out. But he's just drama. He's just drama. So I'm gonna put these eye drops, and he hates it because after I put the eye drops in, I have to put him in his cage. I have to put him in his cage because he can't go back into his water for 10 minutes. He hates being in this cage. Like, it's just drama. He tries to knock the cage over, hoping that the lid will pop off and he can get out. It's just drama with Ray all day long. But he's gonna have to eat these vegetables one way or another. After I put in his eye drops and wait 10 minutes, I'm gonna put him back in there, and I'm gonna put a big piece of collard green in there, and we'll see how he does. You see, he's waking up a little bit. He's waking up a little bit. His eyes look so much better, but he's about to be pissed because I'm about to put these eye drops in his eyes. So that's Turtle update. I literally only have 50 pages left of careering. So when I see you guys in the morning, I will give you guys an update on careering. But yeah, Turtle Cam. I will see you guys later. Peace. Hello, you guys. I'm here to give you guys my final updates on careering. Gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna give this book 3 out of 5 stars. If I'm being generous, I could probably boost it up to 3.5. This book did not feel like a story to me, more so just hearing about what is going on in two women's lives at a certain point in their career. There just didn't feel like an overall story was being told. Well, I get the message of the book, the message to like follow your dreams and do what you want to do and all of that great stuff, but it just never felt like a full narrative came out of this. It just felt like I was just hearing different things happen to these two women in their careers, and then okay, that happened and something else happened and something else happens, and it didn't really feel like an overall story was going on. So I found myself really trying to stay interested when I wasn't interested anymore. Another thing I didn't like about this book, the characters. Also, it was really hard to understand these characters as people because I just don't feel like there was enough information, enough talk about who they were as people. We talked about certain things that they'd been through, but you never really saw who they were as people. Therefore, this book doesn't have an effect. When things happen to them, you don't have that effect. You don't see how these situations will really affect our characters, and you also don't care about where they are in different stages of their life. Another thing, I feel like what held this book back as well is the dual POVs. Because you're dealing with two women who are at two different stages in their career, you're trying to tell this story about two women, but there's just not enough time. There's not enough time to flesh it out. So I think both women and both of their stories were harmed by splitting this into two POVs because neither of them are interesting. Imogen's story is more interesting than I think Harry's story. I think Harry's story completely falls flat, and I think because the book is trying to make this, cohesive, it makes Harry, who is way older than Imogen, it kind of dumbs Harry down a little bit. Harry doesn't seem like the older woman, the more established woman that this book claimed that she is. So I just overall did not fully enjoy this book, but what I did enjoy about this book that keeps it at a 3, could move it up to a 3.5, is the stuff about careering. I did appreciate a lot of the things they had to say about wanting to go for a career and wanting to be a creative and choosing happiness over choosing money or choosing, I enjoy the Imogen in this book, she's a writer, and I love the idea of how she was saying, like, maybe I shouldn't be a writer and I should go do something else because writing isn't paying the bills. And she was like, it doesn't matter how writing treats me, I'm going to always be writing. You could drop me off in the middle of like the forest and I will be writing stuff in the dirt. And I love that idea because if you're someone who is creative, you can relate to that. It's no different than none of you guys could watch these book videos. I would be making book videos. Nobody could watch my commentary videos. I would make commentary videos. Like, it's just something that it's a driving force. Like, that's how you know you're doing what you're supposed to do, because if no one was watching, you would still be doing that thing. And like, for myself at least, there is no way I wouldn't be doing exactly what I'm doing right now, no matter where I would be in life. Like, everything has led up to these moments. I would be being creative in some way. I would be writing. I would be doing booktube. I would be doing regular YouTube. I would be doing something on the internet space because that's what I love. I've always loved the internet. I've always loved people who create things on the internet. And so, like, that's what I love that stuff about being a creative. That is what I thought was really, really strong. I just wish that could have been woven into a better story. So anyways, 3.5 out of 5 stars. April is a doozy. In April, I'm not reading the worst book. Sorry, May. May is a doozy. In May, I'm not reading the worst books I've ever read in my life, but I'm just reading a bunch of like fine books, and I don't like that. Anyways, How beautiful we were. This is changing the beat a little bit. I started this book last night, and the reason why I had to stop is because I had to wake up early. You guys, this book is starting off so freaking good. Like, so good. I've been waiting for some good food, and baby, let's get focused. This is the good food, my friend. So I want to read more to really get an understanding for the story, but like, I'm loving it so far. So How Beautiful We Were is the book we're reading next. Okay, peace. Hello, you guys. Sorry about like the weird lighting that is gonna be like the, you know, the sun rays. I am here to discuss with you guys how beautiful we were. I am currently on page 78. Okay, so this book takes place in a fictional African village, and basically we are hearing the story through this family about how this American pipeline company has come into their village, made their water toxic, made their air toxic, and the people are starting to get sick. The people are starting to get sick, and the people are starting to die. And we're basically hearing about this village and how this American pipeline company that basically the leader of their village sold their village to this pipeline company for money and for jobs and for his family, and basically how they all been dealing with the aftermath. And we start this story in the middle of it where they are deciding to fight back. They are deciding that they have to do something. So we in this story are basically hearing what led up to their decision and also what's happening in the aftermath of their decision. We're hearing it. There's chapters that like are about like certain people like Bongo, and then we have chapters that are like the children and what they're how they're reacting to all of this. This is taking place in 1980. The start of this is in 1980, like when they decide like to fight back against this American oil company. And yeah, you're hearing about what's going on in this village. Perfect, beautiful, amazing. This is one of those books where when it gets to the end of it, I don't think I'm gonna have notes. Like, it's gonna be no notes. Let's start with how this book begins. Like, this is how you start a book. You turn to it. How beautiful we were. A beautiful title page. The opening sentence of this book is, "We should have known the end was near." That's how you start a book. That's it. That's the opening sentence. We should have known the end was near. To name the book How Beautiful We Were, and then to start the book with "we should have known the end was near," there is such a compelling chapter in this book. So there is a man in the village who they believe has like gone crazy. He wasn't always crazy, so they say. He used to be a normal guy, but he eventually went crazy. People say one day he was normal, the next day he started saying he was hearing voices, and basically the ancestors and the doctors of the village was like, once they start hearing voices, it's done. The best thing you can do is lay out a cot and a mat outside and let them sleep under the stars. On the nights that they're able to get some sleep and the voices in their head leave them alone. So he is like the crazy guy of the village. That's literally what they call him. And he comes in, and he is the one who kind of starts this revolution. He starts this revolution. He starts this fighting back. And the chapter is so good. I don't want to spoil anything, but you just have to read the chapter to understand just how good the chapter is. And it's just like, oh, this is a well-written book. I do not knock any of the books that I read. Some things are written well, and I enjoy that they're written well. Some books don't have the best prose, you know. The author is not the strongest writer in the world, but I also enjoy them. You know, I read across the spectrum. But when I can sink my teeth into someone who understands the English language, someone you know knows how to write a book, and Bolo is that. They are brilliant. Like the way that they're putting words together and the way that they're choosing to tell certain stories and who they're deciding to focus on. And when something happens in the book, the words they use to explain what's happening in the book. Also, when it comes to the guy who's crazy, I love the idea of community around him. How like they don't just like cast him to the side because they believe he's unwell. The idea that they all come together to take care of him, and how no one has ever laid a hand on this guy. No one has ever really fought with this guy. They kind of let him be. And how they also are using him as kind of like the all-knowing. Like he knows something that everyone else does not know. I love the idea of family in here. I think it's really good. And I think the idea of setting this in a fictional African town was really thoughtful and well done, because you're allowed to do certain things that I think would be met with a lot of, you know, with a lot of pushback if you set it in an actual African village. So you're able to get your point across without, like, you know, hurting anyone's feelings. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Yeah, I'm just sitting here. I'm actually about to do some reading sprints, so I'm just gonna find someone who I follow on the tube who has done some reading sprints, or who's possibly doing some reading sprints right now, so I can finish this book, because I would love to finish this book today so I can move on to Wrong Place, Wrong Time. But that's pretty much it. I will see you guys later. Look at my applesauce. Where I am, an applesauce soon follow. I will see you guys later. Peace. Hello, you guys. I'm calling you guys in crisis. I'm headed to McDonald's, so like, pay me no mind. I'm calling you guys in crisis. What is my crisis? So do you guys remember in the last vlog where I told you guys I was gonna get the Canon R10? I decided not to go along with that because that is $1,000 camera, and it is on the level, it is honestly better than the level that my filming camera, like my actual sit down filming camera, it's at a better level than that. And I don't need another filming camera. What I need for my filming camera is to just get like a Sigma lens, just to get like a sharper lens if I want a better picture. But I'm not really upset with the picture of my shooting. Like, sorry, y'all never gonna get professional boots over here. Like, it's never gonna give that. So like, the most I could do for that camera is get a new lens. And so I decided against getting the Canon, right? And so I was like, I need to go back to the drawing board. So the drawing board was either going to be to get the Mark, just to go ahead and get the Mark II or the Mark III, whatever the hell, just because it's cheaper. I could get that for $6.99. Get that, but then I'm like, that camera's old. The Mark series, they're saying, is gonna get discontinued, and so I'm like, that's not what we're gonna do either. And so I think I'm gonna get a Sony camera. I say all of that to say I think I'm gonna get a Sony camera because that just makes the most sense. I'm going to get the Sony ZV-E10. Is that real? The Sony ZV-E10. I'm going to get that camera. That camera is $7.99, and it makes the most sense for what I need. But my issue is y'all can't see me. Sorry, the exposure is wonked. The problem with that is I've never had a Sony camera. So that's number one. I just always felt like I wasn't sophisticated enough to have a Sony camera. Like, I always thought Sony cameras were for the sophisticated girls. And so, like, that's why. And then two, right now, I've had 3 Canon cameras. So I have Canon batteries, I have Canon chargers, and I know how to work a Canon. So like, to go into Sony for a new vlogging camera, I would have to get new stuff, like a new chargers. And I don't want to do that. And it's like, you end up doing that. Is it worth it? But anyway, I think I'm going to get the Sony camera and see if I like the Sony camera. And if I do, that's what I'm going to go with. Hi, can I get 2 large fries? Hello, you guys. This view angle, lighting, not the best. It's just not the best. But I do need to come and give you guys my final thoughts on how beautiful we were. First of all, I have to tell you guys, it has been literal days since whatever the last clip was. I haven't edited this video yet, so I don't know what the last clip was, but I have seen Paramore. I have been to my nephew's graduation, and then there's been a couple days in between there. Like, I have been doing stuff, ripping and running, and I haven't been able to pull out my camera. I wasn't able to read until today, so this video is gonna get pushed back to you. You won't notice it's pushed back, but like, it's been pushed back because I haven't had time to read the way I thought I was going to read. But I did eventually finish How Beautiful We Were. I'm going to give this book 5 out of 5 stars. I think this book is absolutely brilliant. What this book is trying to say, so I take away from this book, at the end of this book, the people who were wronged by America imperialism, America pillaging, America stealing, and America just going into foreign countries and doing whatever the hell they want in there and killing off people, they get some type of reparations, and they end up being what we would consider better off just because they have nice houses now and they have education now. But what this book made you really think about is like, are these people's lives better? We as Americans or people in the Western world, we see things and we're like, oh, everything ended up fine in the end. When we hear about these atrocities that happen to people in other nations, and we see eventually like, oh, we see it and we're like, they're living better lives now. You know, they got reparations for what happened to them. But you never think about what was fully lost. Like, there are whole stories, whole human beings, whole towns, whole countries, whole civilizations of people who were just forgotten. And people just put a band-aid over it. But there is a huge wound, a huge gushing wound under that band-aid. And there's nothing you can do about it. Those people are gone. Those stories are gone. And people think just because you kind of, you know, paid back. It's almost like being black in America. Like, okay, we've done a few things for black people, so everything that happened during slavery, everything that happened during Jim Crow, everything that happened in the civil rights movement, everything that happened with crack, everything that happened with Black Lives Matter, all of that's like, okay, so that's fine. But it's just like, no, people were lost, things were lost. And no amount of money, no amount of reparations, no amount of saying you're going to do better is going to stop that, because American greed, not even just American greed, white supremacy is always going to keep reinventing itself. And this new age of white supremacy is even more powerful because they acknowledge their wrongdoing and think just in the acknowledgement they're okay. So there's a lot of acknowledging, but not a lot of doing better. Not a lot of doing better. Not there. You can't make up for what is lost. That is this being called How Beautiful We Were. The we were, and using the word were, it shows that you can't get it back. You can't, no matter what changes and how you think things are going to get better, you can't get back what is lost. You can't get back the people who were lost, the community that was lost, the countries that were lost, all of that, the families. You can't get any of that back. No, nothing you can do about that. And so, like, I just thought this was just a brilliant message. And it made me just think about the world in a different way. It made me think, as someone who is in America, how we view things that happens in other countries, and how we get news about the atrocities that America inflicts on other countries. And you read them, and then America says they're going to do better, or we're going to do this, and you never really know if they're actually doing better until you go and find out. Another thing I thought was really interesting about this book, I loved how they were discussing how even if you're not the one who is doing the pillaging, you're not doing the killing, you're not doing the stealing, you're not doing all of the things, you are still a part of it. Like, as an American, you benefit from the stuff that is happening in these other countries, and that's something you have to be always aware of. But also, on the other hand, if you sit back idly and be like, well, they're just doing it to other countries and I like what I get from it, you know, oil prices are down, so it don't matter that they getting the oil from all these other countries and messing up their countries. This book shows that, but they're doing the same thing to you too. When you don't fight for other people, the same exact thing happens for you. That's how I feel about people who like shop on Shein, and they're just like, they don't care. They don't care that these people are doing slave labor, that these people don't have good working conditions, that it's not good for the environment, that all of this waste and all of this overconsumption, this stuff has to go somewhere. And people don't care because they just think, it's happening over there, right? But it's happening to you too. They'll work you like a dog. They'll work you like a dog too. And you see that. Look at the condition of a lot of people in these countries, America, Canada, the UK, all European countries. Look at the condition of their people. They're not doing well either. That's what this book really shows. Like, no one's doing. The people in these countries that are doing the imperialism, the pillaging, the killing, and the robbing, and the stealing, the people in their country also aren't doing good. Like that. And so when you're in those countries and you don't care what's happening to the people in other countries, it's foolish of you, because they're testing it out on you first. Actually, it's a chicken or egg thing. Are they testing it out on the other people first and then seeing what they can get away with you? Because it's gonna happen to both of you. And that's what this book so beautifully shows. Another thing this book also talked about that I thought was really brilliant was the people who try to help, the people who go to these other countries and try to help. And they were talking about in this book how even the people who try to help want something from you too. Think about the people who go to these other countries just to win like a Pulitzer. They write these articles to win a Pulitzer. They write these articles because their church is doing some missionary thing and they want to convert you to Christianity. Like, even they are trying to take something from you. The people who claim to care so bad, even they want something from you, and you always have to be weary. I just thought this book was so brilliant and what it said. And it showed so many different ideas without being, indecisive. Because that's where I was worried it was going to be, but it didn't. My only gripe with this book, because I will be honest, I think the time the time is a little too ambiguous for me. I oftentimes felt like I didn't know how much time had passed, where were we, in certain parts of this book. It wasn't easy to follow for me, so that would be something I would take away from it. But other than that, I thought this book was perfect. So 5 out of 5 for how beautiful we were. So we are going to move on to Wrong Place, Wrong Time. That is the next book I am going to read, okay? And I'm going to do better at actually reading. I don't know, you guys. I saw Paramore. I'll insert some clips. I saw Paramore and loved it. Like, I absolutely loved it. Yeah, it's concert season. I'm ready to go to any and every concert. I want to go see Adele in Vegas. Y'all know I'm seeing Beyonce a few times. Like, I'm just so excited. Anyways, I will see you guys later. Peace.
Be
Hello, you guys. I am headed to go bowling. I need to give you guys my final thoughts on The Wrong Place, Wrong Time. As I was reading it, I didn't feel like it was the type of book where I needed to like stop in and give you guys updates. It's just not that type of book. We will talk about what type of book that it is, but I have finished the book and I do need to come and give you guys my thoughts on the book. Anyways, I will see you guys later for Wrong Place, Wrong Time thoughts, okay? Hello, you guys. I am here to give you guys a first and final update of The Wrong Place, Wrong Time. So I first want to start by telling you guys what this book is about. This is about a woman who she is sitting at home and she gets this really weird feeling that something is about to happen. So she goes to her window and she sees her son. Her son is standing in the street and she's like, my son, something's about to happen with my son. So she thinks something like her son is about to be like attacked or something because she sees another person walking towards her son. But then as she's looking, she sees that her son actually kills someone. Her son stabs someone. The police come and her son is taken into police custody. And she's like, why the hell would my son decide to murder someone on the street out of nowhere? Well, then she wakes up the next day. She wakes up the next day and she realized her son has not murdered anyone because it's not the same day. She has gone back in time. She has gone back in time and her son is not a murderer because her son has no clue what she's talking about because it is not the day that he killed someone. The day that he kills someone has not happened. And that starts our main character on this journey to figure out why would her son kill someone and what can she do to stop it. I feel like I am living in the Twilight Zone because I have heard, honestly, nothing but good reviews on this book. People like this book. This book is very, very popular with readers. I was so bored. I have never been more bored reading a book this year. And I think there's a few things. We have to start by this being a Reese Witherspoon book club pick. Reese Witherspoon book club picks, I feel like appeal to a certain audience of stay-at-home mom readers. And it means that the books are slightly boring. The books are always slightly boring, a little too deep on like the melodrama of it all, like a little melodramatic, usually centering at the root of it is kind of like there's always, I don't know how to explain this. There's always some deep message that the book is trying to get across, if that makes sense. When it comes to thrillers and stuff, there's always a specific message that the book is trying to leave the reader with. I think of like Where the Crawdads Sings as well. Like there's a certain message and it's melodramatic, and those aren't for me. Those are not my type of books. I like a fun thriller. I love a domestic thriller. I love hearing about the mundane lives of regular people, but I don't like it when this extra layer of like morality and family and wholesomeness and love is thrown into. I do not like that. I do not come to learn lessons about life or lessons about relationships when I read a thriller. That's just not what I'm here for, and I find them boring. And that's what this book was. I just did not care about this woman's family dynamic. I didn't care about her marriage. I will say in the beginning, I was very intrigued because I would say this book is like the 22 Murders of Madison May if the 22 Murders of Madison May was bad. This book is like The Breakdown if the breakdown didn't have any actual intrigue. This book is like Alice's Island if Alice's Island wasn't deep. If Alice's Island didn't have anything important to say. All three of the books I just told you, I enjoyed perfectly fine. None of them I gave 5 stars. Alice's Island is the closest one, but I enjoyed them perfectly fine. I did not want to put them down. I was there for the ride. The Wrong Place, Wrong Time takes all the things I dislike about those books that didn't give them 5 stars and makes them one book. The time travel aspect didn't land for me because there wasn't any basis to it. You didn't, in the 22 Murders of Madison May, throughout the entire book, you understand how the character is time jumping. So you get it. You're along for the ride. Even though confusing, you get it. This book there, you spend the whole book not knowing how the hell she doing this. She's confused just as much as you are confused. And then one of my least favorite tropes of all time, the amateur sleuth trope. I do not like sleuthing in books. I know you're saying, can you love thrillers? How do you not like sleuthing? There is a difference between uncovering secrets and sleuthing. Sleuthing is when your main character literally is putting everything on the back burner to figure out a mystery. Like, their entire life revolves around this mystery. They spend all day uncovering this mystery. That is called sleuthing, my friends. And I do not like it. I find it really boring because you know you're not gonna find out what's gonna happen to the end of the book. So it makes me bored because I'm just like, you realize I could literally skip to the last 4 chapters of this book and I could find out what's going on. And so in me as a reader, it makes it feel like, why the hell am I reading the middle of this? And so that's exactly how I felt. So I picked up the audiobook. I picked up the audiobook to read the middle chunk of this book, thinking it would get me through it more. No. I had to put the audiobook down because I wasn't clicking play on it. I think I ended up reading like 4 or 5 chapters via audio, and it was because I was driving in the car. So I was like, so that's a fucking flop. That's a fucking flop, and I wasted an Audible credit on this book because I read a few chapters, so I had to go back and start reading it physically, and I didn't want to. I was bored. I'm really upset that I spent my money on this book because that's how much I thought I was going to enjoy. So this is a no for me. Once you find out why everything happened, I also don't think that's all that interesting because you have to like appreciate the Reese Witherspoon book club of it all. Like, finding out things about your lover and your family, and oh my gosh, what does family mean? What does relationship mean? You have to appreciate that type of stuff, and I don't. And I don't appreciate that type of stuff. So like, where does that leave a girl like me? It leaves this month being a terrible reading month. That's where it really leaves me. If I didn't read when we were How Beautiful We Were, this would be literally the worst reading month of like my life. I have read so many mediocre books this month. Like, the perfect word is mediocre. So let's hope something a little bit fun comes. Talk about ugly cover. I hate the writing. I hate the font of this book. But the background is actually kind of cute. Why am I so exposed? Hold up. I feel so exposed, and that really didn't help with how exposed I've been. You guys, it's so funny. It's not that bright in here. I don't need that much light. But anyways, we're gonna move on to Someone Else's Shoes. This seems like fun chick lit, which is what I'm really in the mood for. And that'll round out this month of reading, honestly. This will be the last book I think I'm going to read this month. Yeah, Wrong Place, Wrong Time was a flop for me. I can't even in good faith like be like, go read it, but I know it's gonna work for some people. It's just not my type of thing. But I say that, and I enjoyed Alice's Island, which is exactly the same thing, like trying to figure out like what your son could have been doing, trying to figure out what your husband could have been doing that got them in a certain situation. But Alice's Island, I just felt like was doing more. In Alice's Island, she became incorporated in this new world, and you saw the relationships that she was building in this new life she was building for herself, and you saw her going crazy, and you saw how she was lying and manipulating people, and it was an interesting tale about obsession. And Wrong Place, Wrong Time, she's going through time, but there's nothing. Have you ever seen the episode Lost? Have you ever seen the episode of Lost called The Constant? And in that episode, it was about time travel, and it was about like how each time you time travel, you have to have a constant, something that grounds you to reality, so you don't get lost forever in like the the time warp, right? That's what this book almost needed. And they tried to have a character who was like that, but like that character slipped in and out. And that was the most interesting part for me, when we would interact with this character. But you need a constant. You need something that grounds you in these different times. And that wasn't what we got in this book, if you ask me. So with that being said, at least I've read it. At the end of the day, whenever these books don't work out, I tell myself, at least that is another book off my physical TBR that is read. And because I don't really buy books often, I've bought, in the past 2 months, I think I've purchased 2 books. I don't buy books that much. Next month for Pride, I'm doing a whole, like, I want to read nothing but LGBTQA representation books. And I got all the books I wanted, like all the books that were on my like possibly buy, they were at the library. So like everything I want, my library has been good with it. And then if they don't have it, I request it and the library gets it. So I've had no reason to buy books. And so like I'm just knocking out my physical TBR, and I'm so happy for myself. So at the end of the day, at least the book is off my physical TBR and we can, you know, make room for more. Anyways, I don't have anything else to talk to you guys about. I have nothing to talk to you guys about. Oh, I showed you guys the clip of my turtle. My turtle is doing perfectly fine now. He is eating his vegetables now. He loves them. He loves collard greens. He loves them. Yeah. On my own, no one asked this. I was literally about to bold-faced lie to you guys. I was about to say, people always ask this. That's not true. When people say that in videos, they be lying, because I was about to lie to you guys. I was like, people always, no one asks this. But let me explain something to you. At all times, I have 2 things going for me. I have the book that I'm reading for a video. So right now, I'm reading Someone Else's Shoes. This is the book that I read during the day. I see like reading, because I do Lily Reads. It's like, I don't treat it as a job, as in there's no pressure surrounding it as a job, but like during the day, this is what I read, because it's like I'm making content on it. So a lot of times, the allotted time I give myself to work, so if I see my job as like an 11 to 5, because y'all know I don't wake up early. If I see it as an 11 to 5, 11 to 6, instead of like editing some days or doing Patreon or doing As Told by Kenya or making a sit down video for Lily Reads, I spend 4 or 5 hours just reading the book. If I'm going to read a book for a video this week, that's why this video got postponed, because I was doing other stuff, but that's actually not usually how I read the books for Lily Reads. Lily Reads is usually a marathon thing for me. I usually marathon the book. So I never spend usually more than 2 days on a single book for any video. On any video, I never spend more than 2 days, because I'll just use my work time and just do the book, nothing but the book. And that's really easy for me. I don't know, like I feel like if you don't read, you don't understand just how like easy reading comes to some people. Like reading doesn't come hard to me. But the point of what I'm trying to say is, so this is like workbook, right? And then I have always my personal book. This is the book where I just like go on my bookshelf, and for my own sanity, I pick a book. So like, you just don't always want to read books that just have something to do with the video. So right now, the theme of this video is reading new release, like books that I bought new. But I don't always want to just read books that I bought new. There's a lot of downtime in between me reading the book for the video and like my regular life. And so in my own time, so in my wrap up for May, you'll hear about this, I'm reading Such a Fun Age. So like, that's when I get my own reading, what I want to read, like personal. Well, all of these books I want to read, because I could do these videos at any time. I have so many videos planned out and books that will go in each video. And so I just do whichever one I'm more interested in. But there are times where like I'll see a book and I'm just like, I deeply want to read this book. And that was Such a Fun Age. Like, I deeply want to read it. Ooh, another thing I'll show y'all that tomorrow. But yeah, so in my own personal life, I'm reading Such a Fun Age, and that is what I'm going to read for the next 2 hours while I wind down at night. It's really short. I can finish it in a few nights. Like, but that's the book. These are the books I allow to linger. So I read Vladimir as well. I read this smutty book as well. Those are the books I let linger. I just sit them beside my bed and I read them whenever I have a chance throughout the day. I read them on my porch. Like, there's no stress to them. I have to think about what I'm going to tell you guys about these books. So for example, Wrong Place, Wrong Time. I wish I didn't have to come tell you guys anything about it because I didn't enjoy it. But like, I had to think like, oh, what do I not like about this book? But reading this book, I just get to take it in and go about my day. And then at the end of the month, I'll tell you if I liked it or didn't. You know, that's how I do. That's how I do. I don't know. I'm rambling. So I'm gonna go, you guys, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow for an update on someone else's shoes, okay? Peace. Hello, you guys. I am here to give you guys an update on someone else's shoes. I am on page 218, and I have to update you guys on this book. I am going to just come out and say it. This book is so good. This book is so good. Of course, I do have my gripes with it, and we'll get into that quickly. But I am enjoying the hell out of this book. So first and foremost, I thought this was a speculative book. I thought this had like a fantastical element to it. Like, there's something about it wasn't grounded in reality, but it's 100% contemporary. It's 100% contemporary, leaning like women's fiction, chick litty, if you will. It's 100% leaning that way, and I'm enjoying it for it. So this book follows two ladies living in London, I think. Two ladies living in London, and they both lead very different lives. One of the ladies has a really rich husband, and you know, she's used to the finer things in life. Then we have another one. She is a working woman. She is a working mother, a working woman. She's the only person in her household who works, and she's just trying to make ends meet. It is nothing lavish. It is nothing luxurious. It is plain Jane to the point of actual like misery. That's her life. Well, one day they end up at the gym together, and they end up switching bags. Now, this is the part where I thought it was going to get fantasy driven. Like, I thought it was going to be one of those like trading places type of thing. Like, oh, I have your shoes, I put on your shoes, and now I'm you, or something. Like, it's not that. It's not that. They end up getting each other's bag, and that's what kind of just gets us to follow them. It gets us to follow these two people and how their lives are the same and how they're different. Also, each lady, well, one lady wants her bag back. She needs her bag back. And so that's why you're following them, and and eventually they're going to get to know things about one another's life just based on this circumstance that happened to happen. So I thought it was way more like fantastical than it actually is. It's just they end up switching bags. That leads us as the reader to following both of their lives. And that's what this book is about. What's going on in each lady's life, and how are their lives going to be flipped on their head once they end up switching bags? What causes them to, you know, their lives to be flipped upside down? It is so damn good. It's so good, you guys. I don't even know where to begin. Okay, so you have Nisha and Sam. Nisha and Sam are the two people who we are following, and this is where you do get my first gripe. Nisha's storyline, Nisha is a rich girl. Nisha's storyline is 10 times more interesting than Sam's. Sam's storyline is perfect. It's fine. It's fine. It's not uninteresting. I think if Sam had a solo book, if we were just following Sam, which is what I thought was going to happen, then Sam's storyline would be perfectly good. I would be in the book. But Nisha, the rich lady storyline, is so much better. It's so good. I don't know if I want to spoil it. I just feel like you should go into it and listen. It's not like a huge spoil, like a plot twist. It's just the direction the story decides to take. And I just feel like you should just read it and get that experience on your own. Like, you don't need me to spoil the book for you. But it's just such a good time. I love books like this. I don't know. A lot of people on BookTube do not like these types of books. They find them boring. They find them, you know, a little used, but I love books like this. I love books about a regular person and their regular life, and you know, it's a little bit more exciting than people's regular lives because then they wouldn't be a book about them and the stuff that they're dealing with. But what I also love about this is the class conversation it's having. In some ways, it is very like, you know, what you expect, like, oh, you're rich and now you're interacting with poor people and you're realizing poor people work hard. But in other ways, it's actually doing things more interestingly. It's talking about, when it comes to Nisha, how she was so happy to live in this patriarchal society because she, you know, she broke the code. She was one of the chosen ones, but then things have gotten shitty for her, and that's what she really needs to interrogate. She needs to interrogate where her self-worth comes from. Then you have Sam. Sam, you know, prides herself on doing everything. She does everything. She takes care of her family. She takes care of her husband. She go to work, but she also needs to, you know, relax. Ask yourself why you need so much to be the person who takes care of everyone. Why can't you sit back and enjoy life like everybody else, or like people should, you know? It's asking some interesting conversation. It's good. It's good. We are shaping up for a 4 or 5 star read. I'm loving it. Okay. I told you guys I would tell you some books that I bought. You guys, I got Yellowface. Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. They're coming out with a fairy loot version that is really great. Y'all know I love yellow, even though I feel like the yellow on this is a different yellow than I was expecting it to be. I don't know, but on the camera it's showing the yellow I thought it would be. In real life, it's more of a brownish, mustardy, Dijon mustardy yellow. I don't know what to tell you. So then that, and then my kind neighbor just brought over a fairy loot box for me. It got delivered to his house. And so he just brought it over for me. I looked absolutely a mess. I know he was looking at me like, girl, why you look like that? Why do you look like that? Because, oh, I canceled my fairy loot subscription. If you just needed to know that. I'm blurry. I canceled my fairy loot subscription because I have not read a single fairy loot I haven't read a single fairy loot book I've gotten. So this is going to be my 4th fairy loot box, and I haven't read any of them. So it's time to, you know, call it a quits. Like, and I haven't been like thoroughly impressed by any of them. I speak, and then I absolutely love the way this looks. This is Divine Rivals. No God, no war, no one can come between them. That's the little, like, you know, not the blurb, but like what's, you know, the tagline. And this is gorgeous. I say all of that to say this is absolutely gorgeous. Oh my god, it's like the Atlas 6. So yeah, I stopped my fairy loot. Watch the minute I stop my fairy loot, something interesting is going to be in the next box. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I do want to get Yellowface in the fairy loot, but I just can't fathom it because, number 1, I haven't read it yet, and 2, if I give it 5 stars, I'll get the fairy loot version. And then I'll just give this away. But the problem with me and buying 2 books, like if I have a book and I like get another copy of it, for example, The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. I went to a bookstore and got a signed copy of that book. And so you would think, can you get rid of the book that's not signed? No. Because like I have attachment to the book that I actually read. Like I actually read page for page the other book that I have. So it's just like I dog-eared it and all of that stuff. So I'm just like, that's special. I think once I do eventually run out of space, I will start being more picky about the stuff that I'm keeping and what I'm letting go. But right now, in my opinion, I have nothing but space and opportunity on my bookshelf, so I can keep what I want. And I just haven't been buying books. Yellowface was the first book I have purchased like in a while, like new paid full price for. And since Emily Henry, I purchased Emily Henry. Those are the last books I paid full price for. And then before then, full price The Neighbor Favor. I just haven't paid full price. And then obviously this video, and then the books in this video. That's it. Those are the only books I purchased this year for full price. Everything else has either been like a bargain book, a Pango book, thrifted book, stuff like that. And I haven't bought many of them. I'm not in my book buying era. For next month, I told you guys about I want to do nothing but LGBTQ plus books. I found all the ones I wanted to read at the library. Like, I just feel no need to. And so, like, if it's at the library, why do I need to pick it up? It's what I feel like. So anyways, I'll see you guys later. Yes, I'm going to end this video looking like this. So I have to give you guys my final update on Someone Else's Shoes by Jojo Moyes. Okay, in my enjoyment, this is a 5-star book. I enjoyed the hell out of this book. It ended the way I wanted to. It was just perfect to me in the way, like, just my reading experience was absolutely perfect. But I have to put my critical lens on. I will be nothing if I didn't point out something that's kind of obvious about this book. But if you're not Black or you're not someone who like engages with like books critically, you might not catch it. There is a Black character in this book by the name of Jasmine. She is 100% a magical Negro. The more and more you read about her, the more magical Negro-ish she becomes. If you do not know what a magical Negro is a trope that I believe was popularized by Spike Lee in the early 2000s, but it dates back, magical Negroes dates back in film decades before that, where there is a Black character who is only in the story to help a white character out of a bad situation. Usually a magical Negro is disabled in some type of way. For example, either they're physically disabled, they're old, they're disabled because they're, something in their body they're disabled, or in this case, they're disabled by systemic pressure. So systemic pressure and systemic things make them disabled. For example, poverty. Poverty is an example of disability. You're not able to move throughout life in the way that you should be. So it's a systemic disability. And that is what this character is. This character is really poor. Therefore, she 100% checks the box also as a magical Negro. Another way this character checks the box as a magical Negro, usually a magical Negro is in a place of servitude. They're in some type of industry, some type of job, some type of position that makes them like of service to other people. Think nannies, think janitors, think school teachers, think therapists, think something like that, where their job is to already help other people. All of those things come together to make Jasmine a magical Negro. She is a maid at a hotel. She is poor, and she does any and all things to help our white main character for reasons. And there was a part of this book where she had the option to get mad at the main character for doing something, but she quickly forgets about it. And it's just like, no, I can't stay mad at you, girl. But she's known this lady for like a week, and it's just like, why are you going out of your way selflessly to help this white lady? Because she's a magical Negro, and that's just her job. Her job is to just throw herself in front of the bus for this character, help this character no matter what. Hey, you don't have no place to live? Come hang out with me. Oh, you were gonna get me fired? No problem. You can't get me fired, but I'll still help you. And it's just like, you're a magical Negro. You are just the Black stock character in the book that is here to show that our white character is down to earth. And it's just like, that's not the representation we need in books. So I am going to knock this book down 0.5 stars for that, because Jasmine's a magical Negro. She just is. I tried to look into it and be like, maybe I'm being too hard, but there's just no other way. Jasmine's only purpose in this book is to help out Nisha. Her only job is to help out Nisha. Her only job is to get Nisha out of a bad situation, help Nisha out, get Nisha on her feet. She has other things, but those things don't really matter as long as they don't affect Nisha. And so That I did not like. But that's it for this video. That is it for this video. We had two standouts. The two standouts are How Beautiful We Were and Someone Else's Shoes. I would recommend both of these books. I don't think the Jasmine character was intentional. I think it was just, it happens. But it doesn't change the fact that I did enjoy the book. I just had to point that out, to talk critically. And How Beautiful We Were. Both of these books I would give 5 stars, honestly. Just a few. And both those videos, I had a few issues. The most overrated book, and I still don't understand why people like this book, Wrong Place, Wrong Time. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't know how y'all get it. And Careering was just also a bit of a letdown. I just didn't feel like it was an overall good story. It had some amazing things to say, but overall not that great. So that's the video. That is the video. That is the vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next vlog.